And if you're scared tonight for the country, so are we. Former President George W. Bush put it this way in a statement tonight, saying, quote, "A young man was murdered in cold blood while expressing his political views. It happened on a college campus where open exchange of opposing ideas should be sacrosanct. Violence and vitriol must be purged from the public square, and members of other political parties are not our enemies. They are our fellow citizens." May Charlie Kirk's memory be a blessing, and our prayers are with his family, his friends, and those who loved him tonight. And as we come on the air this evening, we're hearing from President Trump, who just posted a video recorded from the Oval Office tonight.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him.
So this just happened, and it's absolutely wild and outrageous. House Republicans just issued a subpoena to Jack Smith, the former special counsel who prosecuted Trump for serious federal crimes. They're forcing him into a closed-door deposition on December 17th. They're interrogating him about his investigations and his cases against Trump. This is Trump getting revenge on his enemies. This is Trump using Congress as a weapon against people who stood up to him and did their jobs. This is what authoritarian governments do when they want to consolidate power and eliminate opposition. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
And loved him, are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain.
Let me explain what's happening here, because this is serious stuff that affects democracy and all of us deeply. Jack Smith was the special counsel appointed to investigate Trump's role in the January 6th Capitol riot. Smith was appointed to look into Trump's handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. Smith brought cases against Trump. Smith charged Trump with serious federal crimes. Smith was pursuing Trump through the courts aggressively, but then Trump won the 2024 election. Trump came back into power in January 2025, and now Trump is using his control of Congress to go after Jack Smith. Trump is using the House Judiciary Committee to subpoena Smith. Trump is forcing Smith to sit for a closed-door interrogation. This is retaliation. This is revenge. This is Trump punishing the people who investigated him. And here's what makes this even worse than it already is. Smith actually volunteered to testify publicly. Smith said he would come before Congress and answer questions publicly and transparently. Smith said he would be completely transparent about his work and his decisions. Smith was willing to address any concerns about his investigation and prosecutions in front of the cameras, where the American people could see and judge for themselves. But House Republicans overruled that offer. House Republicans said, "No, we don't want a public hearing. We want a closed-door session. We want to interrogate Smith privately behind closed doors where nobody can watch." Why would House Republicans prefer a closed-door session over a public one? Because closed-door sessions are much better for intimidation and bullying. Closed-door sessions are not subject to public scrutiny and oversight. Closed-door sessions let Republicans ask aggressive questions without the public watching and documenting everything. This is not about getting information. This is about intimidating Jack Smith. This is about sending a message to other prosecutors. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, who's basically Trump's attack dog in Congress, he sent the letter to Smith. Jordan said that given Smith's role as special counsel, the committee believes Smith has critical information essential for congressional oversight. That's the justification. That's the excuse they're using. But everyone knows what this really is. This is Trump using Congress to punish Smith for investigating him. Trump has been publicly calling for Smith to be investigated and imprisoned. Trump posted on social media calling Smith a criminal. Trump demanded that Smith be locked up for doing his job. Trump has been using inflammatory rhetoric against Smith. And now House Republicans are following Trump's lead by subpoenaing him. Trump doesn't have to ask them directly anymore. They know what he wants, and they do it. This is what happens when you have a president who uses government power to punish his enemies and critics. This is what happens when Congress becomes a tool of the president instead of a check on the president's power. Congress is supposed to be independent. Congress is supposed to oversee the executive branch. Congress is supposed to hold the president accountable. But instead, Congress is now being used to punish people who investigated the president. Chairman Jordan even said the committee wants to probe Smith's handling of the Trump cases. They want to investigate why Smith charged Trump with crimes. They want to question Smith about his decisions and his reasoning. This is an investigation into the investigator. This is using government power to punish someone for doing their constitutional job properly. This is using Congress to go after someone who did exactly what they were supposed to do. And here's what's really scary and concerning about this situation. This is part of a broader pattern of revenge. Trump has said he wants to go after other Biden administration officials. Trump has talked about prosecuting Attorney General Merrick Garland. Trump has talked about investigating other prosecutors and investigators. Trump is talking about a widespread retribution campaign against Biden-era officials. This is what authoritarian governments do when they consolidate power and eliminate checks. Authoritarian governments use the justice system to punish political enemies. Authoritarian governments use Congress to intimidate opponents. Authoritarian governments investigate the investigators. Authoritarian governments don't allow their enemies to escape accountability. And the worst part is that this is happening in America right now. This is happening in a democracy. This is happening with the support of House Republicans who are supposed to be defending the Constitution and the rule of law. Instead, they're helping Trump punish his enemies and consolidate power. So let's break down what's happening with this subpoena, why it's so dangerous for democracy, and what it means for the future of American government. Okay, so let's dig into what's really going on with this Jack Smith subpoena and why this is such a serious attack on the rule of law and the independence of the justice system in America today. Jack Smith was appointed as special counsel by Attorney General Merrick Garland back in 2022. Smith was given the job of investigating Trump's role in the January 6th Capitol riot and Trump's handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. Smith was independent. Smith reported to the Attorney General, not to Congress. Smith was supposed to be insulated from political pressure and influence. That was the whole point of having a special counsel, to have someone who could investigate powerful people without worrying about political consequences. And Smith did his job thoroughly and professionally. Smith investigated Trump thoroughly. Smith reviewed evidence. Smith consulted with federal prosecutors and law enforcement, and Smith brought charges against Trump. Smith charged Trump with conspiracy to defraud the United States on the election case. Smith charged Trump with willfully retaining national defense information on the classified documents case. These weren't trivial charges. These were serious felony charges based on substantial evidence. These were serious charges. These were legitimate charges based on evidence and law. Smith presented his cases to grand juries. The grand juries returned indictments. This was the normal criminal justice process. This was how the system was supposed to work in America. A federal prosecutor gathered evidence, presented it to a grand jury, and the grand jury said, yes, there's probable cause to charge this person with crimes. But then Trump won the 2024 election, and when Trump took office in January 2025, one of the first things Trump did was fire Jack Smith. Trump fired the special counsel. Trump shut down the prosecutions. Trump ended the cases against himself. Trump used his power over the Justice Department to make the cases go away. Trump didn't want to deal with prosecutors or courts or judges. Trump just wanted the prosecutions to stop. That was Trump's constitutional right, technically. The president can fire special counsels. The president can direct the Justice Department to drop cases. The president has broad power over the executive branch, so Trump's firing of Smith was legally constitutional. We're not talking about whether Trump had the legal power to do this. Of course, Trump has the legal power to fire his own subordinates. But now House Republicans want to investigate Smith, even though Trump already fired him. They want to question Smith about why he charged Trump with crimes. They want to probe Smith's decisions and motivations. They want to understand Smith's reasoning. And they're doing this in a closed-door session where the public can't watch and hold them accountable. This is not normal legislative oversight. Now House Republicans claim they're doing this for congressional oversight purposes. They say they want to investigate whether the Justice Department was politicized under Biden. They say they want to understand whether Smith's prosecutions were politically motivated. They say they want to hold Smith accountable for his actions. But that's not what this is really about, and everyone knows it. This is about punishing Smith for investigating Trump. This is about intimidating Smith. This is about sending a message to other prosecutors and investigators. If you investigate Trump, Congress will come after you. If you hold Trump accountable, we will make your life miserable. Think about what this means for the future of justice in America. If prosecutors know that they can be subpoenaed and interrogated by Congress if they investigate the president, then prosecutors will be less likely to investigate the president. If investigators know that Congress will come after them if they investigate the president, then investigators will be reluctant to investigate the president. This creates a chilling effect on accountability. This makes it harder for the Justice Department to investigate powerful people. This makes it easier for the president to act with impunity. This is exactly what authoritarian governments want. They want to intimidate the Justice Department so that the Justice Department won't investigate them. And Chairman Jordan is making it clear what this is really about. Jordan said the committee wants to probe Smith's handling of the Trump cases. Jordan is saying that the committee wants to investigate whether Smith was right to charge Trump with crimes. Jordan is saying that the committee will oversee the special counsel and second-guess his decisions. Jordan is saying that Congress gets to decide whether prosecutions of the president were justified, but that's not how the special counsel system is supposed to work in America. The special counsel is supposed to be independent. The special counsel is supposed to report to the Attorney General, not to Congress. Congress doesn't oversee the special counsel's charging decisions. Congress doesn't second-guess prosecutorial decisions. That's not how separation of powers works. That's not how our constitutional system operates. But now House Republicans are trying to fundamentally change that system. House Republicans are trying to make it so that Congress can interrogate special counsels about their cases. House Republicans are trying to make it so that Congress can oversee prosecutorial decisions. This is a fundamental change to how the justice system works. This is a fundamental shift in the balance of power. And Trump is clearly orchestrating this entire thing from the White House. Trump has been calling for Smith's prosecution. Trump has been posting on social media demanding that Smith be investigated. Trump has been calling Smith a criminal. And now House Republicans are following Trump's lead exactly. Trump doesn't have to give direct orders anymore. House Republicans know what Trump wants, and they do it. This is Trump using Congress as a weapon against his enemies. Trump is using the Republican majority in the House to punish his enemies. Trump is using the House Judiciary Committee to go after Jack Smith for investigating him. And what's really troubling and concerning is that Smith offered to testify publicly in front of the cameras. Smith said he would come before Congress and answer questions in an open hearing. Smith was willing to be transparent about his work. But House Republicans said, no, we don't want a public hearing. We want a closed-door session. House Republicans overruled Smith's offer to testify publicly. Why would House Republicans prefer a closed-door session instead of a public one? The only reason to prefer a closed-door session is if you want to intimidate someone or if you want to avoid public scrutiny. A closed-door session means the public can't see what's happening. A closed-door session means House Republicans can ask aggressive and inflammatory questions without the public watching. A closed-door session is designed to intimidate. This is not how congressional oversight should work. This is not oversight. This is intimidation of a witness. This is not transparency. This is secrecy and closed-door politics. This is not the justice system. This is authoritarianism. And here's what's scary. This is just the beginning of a longer campaign. Trump has said he wants to investigate other Biden administration officials. Trump has said he wants to go after Attorney General Merrick Garland. Trump has said he wants to investigate other prosecutors and investigators. Trump is talking about a widespread retribution campaign. If House Republicans are willing to do this to Jack Smith, then they'll do it to other prosecutors and investigators. If House Republicans are willing to subpoena special counsels for closed-door interrogations, then they'll do it to other Justice Department officials. This is the beginning of a broader pattern of revenge. This is Trump using Congress to consolidate power and punish enemies. This is Trump using the Republican majority to punish his enemies. This is Trump transforming Congress into a tool of the president instead of a check on the president's power. Alright, so let's break down what this Jack Smith subpoena actually means and what the implications are for American democracy and the rule of law going forward into the future. First thing, this is Trump getting revenge on Jack Smith for investigating him and charging him with crimes. That's what this is. Trump was investigated by Smith. Trump didn't like being investigated. Trump wanted Smith to go away. So Trump used his power to fire Smith. And now Trump is using Congress to punish Smith for investigating him. This is authoritarianism. This is what happens in countries where the president has too much power and no checks on that power. This is what happens when there are no checks on the president. This is what happens when Congress becomes a tool of the president instead of a check on the president. Come on, are you kidding me? This is what we've been warned about for decades, and this is dangerous for justice because it creates a chilling effect on accountability. If prosecutors know they can be interrogated by Congress for charging the president, then prosecutors will be less likely to charge the president with crimes. If investigators know they'll be punished for investigating the president, then investigators will avoid investigating the president. This protects powerful people from accountability. This makes it easier for the president to act with impunity and break the law. This is bad for democracy. This is bad for the rule of law. This is bad for everyone who isn't politically connected to the president. When the president can't be investigated and prosecuted, the president becomes above the law. Second thing, this is part of a broader retribution campaign by Trump against Biden administration officials. Trump has said he wants to investigate and prosecute Merrick Garland, the attorney general, who appointed Smith. Trump has said he wants to investigate other prosecutors and investigators. Trump is talking about a widespread retribution campaign against Biden-era officials. If Trump succeeds in investigating and prosecuting Biden administration officials, then future administrations will be afraid to investigate Trump. Future administrations will be afraid to hold Trump accountable. Future administrations will know that if they investigate Trump, Trump will retaliate against them when he gets back in power. This creates a cycle of retaliation. This creates a system where presidents use the justice system to punish their predecessors. This is bad for democracy. This destroys the rule of law. This is a vicious cycle that destroys trust and institutional independence. This is how democracies die, not with a bang, but with a systematic dismantling of checks and balances. Third thing, this is a fundamental threat to the independence of the Justice Department. The Justice Department is supposed to be independent from political pressure. Prosecutors are supposed to make charging decisions based on law and evidence, not based on political considerations or fear of retaliation. Prosecutors are not supposed to worry about whether Congress will come after them for doing their jobs. But if Congress can interrogate prosecutors for their charging decisions, then prosecutors will make decisions based on political pressure. If prosecutors know that Congress will come after them for charging powerful people, then prosecutors will avoid charging powerful people. This is wild. The entire system depends on prosecutors having the independence to pursue cases based on evidence and law. This politicizes the Justice Department. This makes the Justice Department a tool of the president instead of an independent branch of government. This is bad for democracy and the rule of law. When prosecutors are afraid to charge powerful people, justice becomes a function of politics instead of law. Now, what are the actual implications of this subpoena for Jack Smith? Well, Smith has to show up for a closed-door interrogation on December 17th. Smith has to answer questions from House Republicans. Smith has to provide documents related to his prosecutions. This is not a friendly congressional hearing where Smith can explain his reasoning. This is an interrogation. This will be an intimidating experience for Smith. Smith will be questioned aggressively by House Republicans who are aligned with Trump. Smith will be in a hostile environment. The public won't be watching. Smith won't have the protection of public scrutiny. Smith will be in a room with people who have already decided he's the bad guy. And after the interrogation, House Republicans will likely release a report claiming that Smith was politically motivated. House Republicans will claim that Smith's prosecutions were unfair and politically motivated. House Republicans will claim that Smith abused his power. This is what's likely to happen based on their pattern. They're not going to say Smith did a good job. They're going to say Smith was a political operative. This will damage Smith's reputation badly. This will make it look like Smith was a political operative rather than a professional prosecutor. This will undermine public confidence in the Justice Department and in law enforcement. And that's exactly what Trump wants. Trump wants to discredit the Justice Department and law enforcement so that people don't trust them anymore. And it will send a message to other prosecutors and investigators: if you investigate Trump, you'll be punished. If you charge Trump with crimes, Congress will come after you. If you hold Trump accountable, you'll face retaliation. This message is loud and clear, and prosecutors will get it. This is exactly what Trump wants. Trump wants to intimidate prosecutors. Trump wants to make it clear that investigating him will result in punishment. Trump wants to use the power of Congress to consolidate his power and avoid accountability. And here's what's really disturbing. This is happening in America right now. This is happening in a democracy. This is happening with the support of House Republicans who are supposed to be defending the Constitution. Instead of defending the Constitution, they're helping Trump destroy democratic norms and constitutional principles. The Constitution separates powers between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Congress is supposed to check the president. Congress is supposed to be independent, but instead Congress has become a tool of the president. House Republicans have abandoned their constitutional role. House Republicans are helping Trump punish his enemies. House Republicans are helping Trump consolidate power. House Republicans are abandoning their constitutional role as a check on the president. House Republicans are participating in the destruction of democracy. This is a fundamental threat to American democracy. This is a fundamental threat to the rule of law. This is what happens when Congress becomes partisan and abandons its constitutional responsibilities. When one party controls Congress and the presidency, and that party decides to use Congress to punish the other party's prosecutors, democracy dies, and we should be scared about this. We should be concerned about where this is heading. Because if this pattern continues, then America will be transformed into an authoritarian state where the president uses government power to punish his enemies. This is not a crazy prediction. This is what authoritarian governments actually do. Trump has already fired Jack Smith from his position. Trump has already pardoned corruption. Trump has already subpoenaed special counsels. Trump is consolidating power. Trump is using government to punish his enemies. Trump is transforming America into an authoritarian state. and House Republicans are enabling this and supporting it completely. House Republicans are helping Trump consolidate power. House Republicans are abandoning the Constitution. House Republicans are participating in the destruction of democratic norms. House Republicans are betraying their oath to defend the Constitution. This Jack Smith subpoena is a symbol of what's happening in America right now. This is what authoritarian government looks like. This is what happens when the president controls Congress. This is what happens when checks and balances break down. This is wild. We need to be paying attention to this. We need to be concerned about this because democracy is fragile. Democracy can be destroyed. And right now, American democracy is under serious threat from Trump and his allies in Congress.